Well, as we look at the variable vane turbocharger, the Duramax 6.6 liter, ever since LLY, not LB7, because the LB7 used the wastegate, the LLY and laters, along with the Powerstroke families, which would be the 6.0 and the 6.7, we're using the Garrett style turbocharger that I'm holding here in my hand. Now, the Garrett style turbocharger, there were some good things and bad things about it. First of all, variable vane turbocharging. It actually has the ability to vary its vane position. So as I hold it here, I can open it and I could close it. What some technicians don't realize is that all exhaust gas comes in from the side here. So as I look at this turbo here, both the up pipes join together and actually bring all the exhaust from the V8 engine into the turbo. Now, just by looking here, all exhaust gases must go past these vanes. So again, as I open them, you're going to see exhaust gas go in and actually go out towards the downpipe. So therefore, the actual downpipe, if this were set up on an engine, would be on the backside sitting on my leg. But the moral of the story here is that all exhaust gases on both banks must pass these vanes. So as the vanes open, more exhaust flow. As the vanes start to close, as I'm showing you here, we have less exhaust gas. But here's the thing. That means I'm creating a restriction. And that restriction is creating a lot of back pressure in those up pipes and in those exhaust manifolds. So that would mean that that engine is struggling to push those exhaust gases. Now, on the positive side of things is the purpose of opening and closing the vanes is to control the impeller speed, which in turn changes the speed of the compressor or boost pressure. Now, on a 6.0 Powerstroke and on a 6.7 Powerstroke, they use this similar design, smaller in a Powerstroke 6.7, but they do not use a vane position sensor. So the computer is literally guessing or calculating the position of these vanes. The Duramax families, like this one right here, has a vane position sensor. So the computer is fully aware of the position of these vanes. So imagine that we have a rock going across the charger cooler, you have a massive leak. What is the feedback for a 6.0 or 6.7? He doesn't know what's going on with the vanes. He's trying to create boost, so he continues to close these vanes further. The problem is it generates a lot of back pressure. And that back pressure is what causes harm, because now your temperature is extremely high in the exhaust manifold and the up pipes, and you also have a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. So in a nutshell, that means that piston is struggling to actually push that exhaust gas out. And you want to know why head bolts stretch. It's intense, it's a lot of heat, not to mention cracking on the heads. So an advantage of Duramax is the fact they were, I would say they were smarter to actually put a vane position sensor there. So the computer can monitor the position. So if they're too close for too long, he will immediately open. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Well, those trucks like the 6.0 and 6.7 have exhaust pressure sensors, correct. But the problem is the damage could be done. So we're hearing issues regarding the 6.7 about, issues with the tips on the injectors, issues with actual, valves dropping. Well, sometimes we tend to wonder is what was the heat factor drawn in from in other words, from the actual turbocharger, because the vanes were closed for too long of a time. Now this might sound crude, but it gets the point across. We're literally constipating on one side of the engine, and we're also suffocating it. So on the EGR side, we're suffocating a little bit of the air, but on the outlet side, at the turbo, we're actually constipating the poor engine, because again, exhaust flow is highly restricted because the vanes are closed. Now, to make things even worse, if the customer buys a tuner or is running some type of performance programmer in it, and they're creating more boost, what are they doing to create more boost? They're actually closing those vanes even further, which in turn creates a lot of back pressure. In other words, it's making the matters worse. On one side, we're creating a lot of power. On the other side, we're actually creating a lot of back pressure. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you have head gasket failure or issues with, again, too much heat or head cracking, it's a good idea to check to see what the turbo is doing. Luckily, on the Duramax families, you won't see these problems for the simple fact that we have a vane position sensor.